Steve Harvey couldn't speak when a cancer survivor thanked him for saving her life. In that powerful moment, a wave of emotion swept through the room, forever changing the lives of those present. This story isn't just about a heartfelt thank you. It's about the extraordinary bonds formed in our darkest times. Stay with us, because what unfolds is a remarkable journey of hope and gratitude that will leave you inspired. Meet Sarah, a vibrant woman filled with dreams and ambitions. Just a few months ago, her life was a tapestry of laughter, family gatherings, and plans for the future. She was the kind of person who lit up a room, her smile contagious and her spirit unbreakable. Her days were filled with joy, whether she was hosting dinner parties for friends or planning spontaneous weekend getaways with her husband. But then came the moment that would shatter her world. "You have cancer." Those words echoed in her mind like a thunderclap, drowning out everything else. In an instant, her reality transformed from one of joy and security to a battleground of uncertainty and fear. The sterile smell of the hospital room, the sympathetic glances from the medical staff, and the silence that filled the air created a surreal atmosphere. It felt as if time had stopped, trapping her in a moment of despair. The diagnosis felt like a dark cloud looming over her, threatening to steal her hope and overshadow her once bright future. She faced countless appointments, endless tests, and the harsh reality of treatments that left her feeling weaker each day. Each visit to the oncologist brought new challenges, a whirlwind of chemotherapy regimens, side effects, and the constant fear of the unknown. She found herself in a world filled with medical jargon, where words like remission, tumor markers, and radiation became part of her everyday vocabulary. Yet, amid the chaos, a flicker of determination began to emerge within her. With each passing day, Sarah found herself grappling not just with her illness, but with the question of how to reclaim her life. She knew she had a choice: to succumb to despair or to fight with every ounce of strength she had left. With the unwavering support of her family and friends, she made the decision to embrace the fight, channeling her fear into a fierce resolve to not only survive, but thrive against the odds. As she began her journey through the storm of cancer, little did she know that the fight for her life would lead her to an unexpected source of hope, one that would forever change her story. She started to explore holistic approaches to healing, connecting with support groups, and even engaging in mindfulness practices. Each small step, from meditation to journaling her thoughts and fears, became a crucial part of her healing process. But this was just the beginning of her struggle. She would soon discover that she needed more than medical treatment to survive. The emotional and psychological battles would prove to be just as daunting as the physical ones, and she would have to learn to navigate both to find her way back to the light. As Sarah settled into her new reality, she quickly realized that the journey ahead would be anything but easy. The initial shock of her diagnosis began to fade, replaced by a fierce determination to take control of her life. She knew that the battle against cancer was not just about fighting the disease. It was also about reclaiming her identity and finding strength in vulnerability. The first day of chemotherapy arrived like a storm cloud, heavy with anticipation and dread. Sarah sat in the infusion chair, surrounded by the beeping of machines and the soft murmur of other patients. The atmosphere was surreal, both a place of hope and despair. She clutched a small charm given to her by her best friend, a reminder that she was not alone in this fight. As the nurse prepared the IV, Sarah felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. The fear of the unknown loomed large in her mind. Would the treatment work? What side effects would she face? But as the medication flowed into her veins, she took a deep breath. focusing on the positive affirmations she had been reciting daily. I am strong, I am a warrior. I will fight. With each passing week, Sarah became more acquainted with the realities of chemotherapy. Some days were filled with nausea, fatigue, and a sense of isolation. Other days brought moments of clarity and connection. She learned to lean on her support system, her husband, who held her hand through every session, and her friends, who rallied together to create a network of love and encouragement. They organized meal trains, sent her uplifting messages, and even accompanied her to treatments. During this time, Sarah also discovered the power of community. She joined a local cancer support group where she met others who were walking similar paths. These meetings became a sanctuary, a safe space to share fears, triumphs, and everything in between. Hearing their stories of resilience inspired her and reminded her that she wasn't alone. One evening, after a particularly grueling treatment, Sarah found herself reflecting on the journey so far. She realized that her experience with cancer was not just a fight. It was a transformative process. Each setback pushed her to dig deeper within herself, uncovering strengths she never knew existed. She began to write about her experiences, pouring her heart into a journal that became both a therapeutic outlet and a testament to her journey. Amidst the struggles, she discovered new passions. Yoga and meditation became vital tools in her healing arsenal. They provided her with moments of peace and clarity, helping her to navigate the emotional turbulence of her diagnosis. She found solace in the gentle stretches and the rhythmic flow of her breath, grounding herself in the present moment. As the weeks turned into months, Sarah's outlook evolved. She began to see her journey as a source of empowerment rather than a burden. The fight against cancer was not just about survival. It was about living fully, embracing each day with gratitude and purpose. She started to share her story publicly, using social media to connect with others and raise awareness about the realities of cancer. But even as she grew stronger, Sarah understood that the road ahead was still filled with challenges. The shadow of uncertainty loomed large, and the reality of her diagnosis would continue to be a part of her life. Yet, she stood firm in her resolve, ready to face whatever came next. With every treatment, every moment of doubt, and every triumph, Sarah was building a narrative of hope, and she wasn't done fighting yet. As the days turned into weeks, Sarah found herself navigating the complexities of life with cancer. The initial shock of her diagnosis had faded, giving way to a new normal that she was determined to embrace. While the physical toll of treatment was significant, it was the emotional and psychological aspects that truly tested her resilience and spirit. Sarah's hair began to thin and eventually fell out, a stark reminder of the battle she was fighting. At first, it felt like a devastating loss. Her hair had always been a part of her identity, a symbol of her femininity and strength. She remembered the carefree days when she would style it effortlessly, experimenting with different looks and colors. But now, as she watched clumps of hair fall to the floor, she felt a profound sense of loss wash over her. It was as if a part of her was being stripped away, leaving her feeling vulnerable and exposed. However, as she looked in the mirror one morning, she decided to take charge of the situation. With a deep breath, she picked up a pair of scissors and cut off the remaining strands. The act of shaving her head became a powerful declaration of defiance against the disease that sought to take so much from her. Standing in front of the mirror, she felt an unexpected sense of liberation. She was choosing to redefine her appearance on her own terms, reclaiming her power amidst the chaos. That evening, her husband organized a small gathering with their closest friends to celebrate her courage. They donned colorful wigs and headscarves in solidarity, turning what could have been a somber occasion into a vibrant celebration of love and support. The laughter and camaraderie filled their home, creating an atmosphere of warmth and joy. For the first time in weeks, Sarah felt a glimmer of happiness amidst the shadows of her illness. The evening reminded her that while cancer was a formidable opponent, it could not extinguish the light of friendship and love that surrounded her. As she continued her treatments, Sarah began to explore ways to channel her experiences into something meaningful. Inspired by her support group and the stories she heard from others, she decided to start a blog. She wanted to share her journey, the ups and downs, the laughter and tears. Writing became a therapeutic outlet, allowing her to articulate her fears and triumphs while also connecting with others facing similar challenges. Each post was a cathartic release, a way to process her emotions and reflect on her journey. Through her blog, she discovered an incredible community of individuals who rallied around her. They shared their own stories, offered encouragement, and created a network of support that spanned across the globe. Sarah realized that while cancer was a deeply personal journey, it also had the power to unite people in unexpected ways. Her words resonated with many, and she found purpose in being a source of hope for others navigating their own battles. As Sarah's blog gained traction, she began to receive messages from readers expressing gratitude for her honesty and vulnerability. They shared how her story inspired them to keep fighting, to seek help, and to embrace their own journeys with courage. This newfound connection fueled her determination to keep writing, to keep sharing her truth. Each message felt like a lifeline, reinforcing her belief that her experiences, however painful, could serve a greater purpose. In the midst of her growing online presence, Sarah also turned her attention to her physical health. With each treatment, she realized that taking care of her body was crucial to her recovery. She began to explore nutrition and holistic healing, learning about the foods that could support her body during treatment. Armed with knowledge, she made changes to her diet, incorporating more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Cooking became another creative outlet, a way to nourish herself and find joy in the process. One day, while experimenting with a new recipe, she reflected on the parallels between cooking and her journey. Just as a dish requires the right balance of ingredients, her path to healing demanded a careful blend of physical, emotional, and spiritual nourishment. Each choice she made, whether in the kitchen or in life, was a step toward reclaiming her health and happiness. The kitchen became a sanctuary, a place where she could express her creativity and find solace in the rhythm of chopping vegetables and stirring pots. As weeks turned into a couple of months, Sarah's outlook on life transformed. She began to see her cancer journey not just as a battle, but as a profound opportunity for growth and self-discovery. The challenges she faced became lessons in resilience, compassion, and the power of community. Each setback, whether it was a difficult treatment day or an unexpected wave of nausea, taught her to lean into her support system and embrace vulnerability. Through the highs and lows, she learned to embrace the uncertainty of her situation. Each day was a gift, and she resolved to make the most of it. Finding joy in the little things, a sunny morning, a heartfelt conversation, or a moment of laughter with loved ones. She started to take walks in nature, allowing the fresh air and sunlight to invigorate her spirit. These moments of stillness became sacred, a reminder of the beauty that existed even in the midst of struggle. As she approached the halfway mark of her treatment, Sarah felt a sense of pride in how far she had come. She had learned to navigate the complexities of her diagnosis with grace and strength. With each passing day, she was not just surviving, she was thriving, embracing the journey with open arms. The blog posts she shared became a testament to her growth, capturing the evolution of her mindset and the strength she discovered within herself. But as she looked ahead, she knew that the road to recovery was still long and filled with unknowns. The shadow of uncertainty loomed large, and the reality of her diagnosis would continue to be a part of her life. Yet, she stood firm in her resolve, ready to face whatever came next. With her heart full of hope and determination, Sarah was prepared to confront the challenges that lay ahead, knowing that each step forward was a testament to her resilience. With newfound courage, she was ready to embrace the next chapter of her journey, eager to uncover the lessons, connections, and experiences that awaited her. The fight against cancer had transformed her, and she was no longer just a patient. She was a warrior, armed with a heart full of hope and a spirit that refused to be broken. As Sarah continued her journey through treatment, she began to notice a shift in her perspective. What once felt like an insurmountable burden transformed into an unexpected opportunity for growth and connection. While cancer was a formidable adversary, it also unveiled a world of support and compassion she had never fully appreciated before. One crisp autumn morning, Sarah decided to attend a local wellness fair that focused on holistic healing and community support for cancer patients. The event was buzzing with energy as people gathered to share their stories, resources, and advice. Sarah felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. She was stepping into a space filled with individuals who understood the complexities of her journey. As she walked through the various booths, she encountered vendors offering everything from organic food samples to handmade jewelry. One particular stall caught her eye, a booth dedicated to expressive arts therapy. Intrigued, she approached the table, where a warm and inviting woman greeted her with a smile. The woman introduced herself as Maya, a certified art therapist, and invited Sarah to participate in a creative workshop later that day. Curiosity piqued, Sarah hesitated for a moment, but ultimately decided to sign up. She had always enjoyed art in her youth, but had long since set it aside for more practical pursuits. As the workshop began, the atmosphere shifted from one of uncertainty to one of liberation. Surrounded by people from diverse backgrounds, all sharing their own stories of struggle and resilience, Sarah felt a deep sense of belonging. Maya guided the group through various exercises, encouraging participants to express their emotions through painting, drawing, and even writing. With each stroke of the brush, Sarah felt layers of her anxiety unravel. The colors on her canvas began to reflect her journey. Swirls of deep blues for the sadness, vibrant yellows for hope, and fiery reds for her determination. By the end of the workshop, Sarah had created a piece that represented not just her battle with cancer, but also her triumphs and the beauty she discovered along the way. The experience was cathartic, and as she sat back to admire her work, tears of release streamed down her cheeks. For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of peace. After the workshop, Sarah struck up a conversation with a fellow participant named Lily, a woman in her late 30s who was also undergoing treatment. The two quickly bonded over their shared experiences, exchanging insights and encouragement. They made plans to meet up regularly for art sessions, both as a form of therapy and as a way to support each other through their respective journeys. Their friendship blossomed, rooted in understanding and empathy. As weeks turned into months, Sarah and Lily continued to explore their creativity together. They painted, sketched, and even dabbled in pottery, using art as a means of expression and healing. With each session, they shared stories of their lives before cancer, their dreams for the future, and their hopes for recovery. Sarah found herself laughing more than she had in weeks, the weight of her diagnosis feeling a little lighter with each brushstroke. Meanwhile, Sarah's blog continued to grow, and she began to share her experiences with art therapy and the profound impact it had on her mental health. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and many readers expressed interest in trying similar approaches. Inspired by this newfound connection, Sarah decided to host an online art therapy session for her followers. She wanted to create a space where others could come together, share their stories, and find healing through creativity. The first session was a resounding success. Participants from different backgrounds joined in, sharing their artwork and supporting one another. Sarah facilitated discussions about emotions tied to their pieces, encouraging everyone to be vulnerable and authentic. The sense of community was palpable, and Sarah realized that her journey had transformed into something much larger than herself, the opportunity to help others heal and find solace in shared experiences. One evening, after a particularly uplifting session, Sarah received a message from a woman named Emily. Emily shared that she had been diagnosed with cancer just a few weeks prior and had been feeling lost and alone. However, after participating in Sarah's art therapy session, she felt a renewed sense of hope. Emily expressed her gratitude for Sarah's vulnerability in sharing her journey and how it inspired her to confront her fears with courage. Reading Emily's message brought tears to Sarah's eyes. It was moments like these that reminded her of the power of connection and the ripple effect of sharing one's story. Sarah realized that her journey, filled with its trials and tribulations, had the potential to touch lives beyond her own. As winter approached, Sarah's resolve deepened. She began to plan a community art exhibit, showcasing the works created during her sessions, inviting friends, family, and fellow cancer warriors to participate. The exhibit would not only celebrate creativity, but also serve as a platform for raising awareness about cancer and the importance of mental health in the healing process. The night of the exhibit arrived, and the venue was filled with vibrant artwork, each piece telling a unique story of struggle, resilience, and hope. Sarah stood proudly among the artists, her heart swelling with gratitude for the community that had formed around their shared experiences. Friends, family, and even strangers mingled, sharing stories and forming connections that transcended their individual battles. As Sarah looked around the room, she felt a profound sense of purpose. This journey had transformed her in ways she never imagined. Cancer had brought her face to face with her own vulnerabilities, but it also opened doors to healing, friendship, and creativity. She had learned that while the fight against cancer was deeply personal, it was also a shared experience, one that could foster connection and community. With the support of her newfound friends and the strength she had cultivated within herself, Sarah was ready to face the next chapter of her journey. She understood that there would still be challenges ahead, but she was no longer alone. Surrounded by love and creativity, she felt empowered to embrace whatever came next. As Sarah continued to share her journey and connect with others, she felt a profound shift within herself. The community she had built around her art therapy sessions became a source of strength, illuminating the path ahead. Encouraged by the support and love surrounding her, Sarah was ready to take on the next phase of her journey with renewed vigor. However, the path was not without its challenges. As winter settled in, the cold weather and shorter days brought about new emotional hurdles. The fatigue from treatments weighed heavily on her, and the holidays, often a time of joy, felt bittersweet. Memories of past celebrations mingled with the reality of her current situation, creating a complex tapestry of emotions. Determined not to let her diagnosis overshadow the season, Sarah decided to host a holiday gathering for her friends and family. She envisioned a celebration filled with warmth, laughter, and gratitude. An opportunity to remind herself and those she loved of the beauty of connection. She poured her heart into the preparations, decorating her home with twinkling lights and crafting handmade ornaments as gifts for her guests. As the day of the gathering approached, Sarah felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. Would she have the energy to host? Would her friends still see her as the vibrant person she once was? Or would they only see the illness? These thoughts raced through her mind. But she reminded herself of the importance of community and support that had been so crucial to her healing. On the evening of the gathering, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. Friends arrived bearing dishes of food, laughter echoing through the halls as they reminisced about old memories and created new ones. Sarah was overwhelmed with joy as she watched everyone come together, each person bringing their unique spirit to the celebration. As the evening progressed, she took a moment to gather everyone around the fireplace. With a warm mug of cider in hand, she shared her journey over the past few months. The struggles, the victories, and the incredible support she had received. Her voice trembled with emotion as she spoke, each word resonating with honesty and vulnerability. "Tonight isn't just about the holidays," she said, her eyes glistening with tears. "It's about the love and support that we share. I want you all to know how much you mean to me. You've been my strength during this journey, and I am so grateful for each of you." As she finished speaking, the room erupted in applause, but what followed was even more touching. One by one, her friends began to share their own stories, moments of struggle, vulnerability, and triumph. They spoke of their challenges, their fears, and the ways in which Sarah's journey had inspired them to face their own battles with courage. The gathering transformed into a celebration of resilience, a testament to the power of community and the human spirit. They laughed, cried, and embraced one another, forging deeper connections in the process. In that moment, Sarah realized that vulnerability was not a weakness, but a bridge that connected hearts. As the night drew to a close, Sarah felt a sense of peace envelop her. The support of her friends had fortified her spirit, reminding her that she was not alone in her fight. She had turned a corner, embracing the reality of her situation, while also celebrating the joys of life. In the weeks that followed, Sarah's focus shifted toward self-care and healing. Inspired by the love that surrounded her, she began to incorporate new practices into her daily routine. She started attending yoga classes specifically designed for cancer patients, where she discovered the power of gentle movement and mindfulness. The tranquility of the practice offered her a sacred space to reconnect with her body, fostering a sense of empowerment and awareness. At the same time, Sarah continued to document her journey on her blog. She began to explore topics related to self-care, mental health, and the importance of community support during illness. Her posts resonated with readers, sparking conversations about the emotional and psychological aspects of cancer that often go unaddressed. One day, while reflecting on her experiences, she decided to reach out to local cancer support organizations, proposing workshops that combined her passion for art and the healing power of community. Excited by the idea, several organizations expressed interest in collaborating with her, opening up opportunities to reach even more individuals facing similar challenges. As she began to plan the workshops, Sarah felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was no longer just a patient. she was becoming an advocate for others. By sharing her voice and experiences, she hoped to inspire those navigating their own journeys to find strength and resilience within themselves. One crisp morning, as she walked through a local park, Sarah was struck by the beauty of the world around her. The trees, adorned with frosty leaves, sparkled in the sunlight, reminding her of the magic in everyday moments. She paused to take a deep breath, feeling a sense of gratitude wash over her. With the support of her community, the joy of her friendships, and her newfound purpose, Sarah was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The fight against cancer was still ongoing, but she had transformed her experience into a journey of connection, creativity, and hope. She was no longer defined by her diagnosis. She was a warrior, a creator, and a beacon of light for others. As spring approached, Sarah felt a sense of rebirth within herself. The world around her was awakening, and so was she with each passing day. She continued to embrace her journey, ready to share her story and inspire others to do the same. The turning point had arrived, and Sarah was determined to make the most of it, not just for herself, but for everyone who needed to hear that they were not alone in their fight. As spring unfurled its vibrant colors across the landscape, Sarah felt an invigorating sense of renewal within herself. The warmth of the sun and the blossoming flowers mirrored her own transformation as she embraced the next phase of her journey. With her blog gaining traction and her workshops in the planning stages, Sarah was excited about the possibilities ahead. Determined to make a difference, Sarah began to reach out to various local organizations to organize her first art therapy workshop. She envisioned a safe haven where individuals could come together, express their emotions through creativity, and find healing in shared experiences. With each email she sent, her heart raced with anticipation, hopeful that her vision would resonate with others. After several weeks of planning, the day of the workshop finally arrived. The venue was a cozy community center adorned with colorful artwork, a perfect backdrop for the creative expressions that would soon unfold. As participants began to arrive, Sarah felt a surge of nerves mixed with excitement. Would they connect with each other? Would her vision come to life? As the room filled with a diverse group of individuals, some battling cancer, others supporting loved ones, Sarah welcomed everyone with open arms. She shared her own story, the ups and downs of her journey, and the healing power of art. The atmosphere was charged with vulnerability and hope, and she could feel the energy shift as participants began to open up. The workshop kicked off with a guided meditation to center everyone's thoughts and emotions. Sarah encouraged participants to reflect on their journeys, inviting them to let go of their fears and embrace the creative process. With a warm smile, she introduced the first art exercise, creating a self-portrait that represented not just their physical appearance, but also their inner strength. As the participants set to work, the room filled with the sound of paintbrushes gliding across canvases, laughter, and the occasional sniffle. Sarah circulated among the tables, offering encouragement and support, marveling at the artwork that began to take shape. Each piece told a story, revealing the unique experiences and emotions of its creator. One participant, an older woman named Margaret, caught Sarah's attention. As she painted, tears streamed down her face. Sarah approached her gently, asking if she would like to share what she was feeling. Margaret hesitated at first, but the warmth of the space encouraged her to open up. "I lost my husband to cancer last year," she said, her voice trembling. "I feel so lost without him. This is the first time I've been able to express my grief. It's like I've been holding everything inside, and now it's all coming out." Sarah knelt beside her, offering a comforting presence. "It's okay to feel that way. she replied softly. This space is for you to express your pain and your love. Your art can be a powerful way to honor his memory. With Sarah's encouragement, Margaret poured her heart into her painting. And as she did, the weight of her sorrow began to lift. The other participants rallied around her, sharing their own stories of loss and love, creating a beautiful tapestry of shared experiences that fostered connection and healing. By the end of the workshop, the room was filled with vibrant artwork, each piece telling its own story of resilience and hope. As they gathered to share their creations, the atmosphere was charged with emotion. Participants spoke openly about their fears, their triumphs, and the healing they experienced through creativity. Sarah felt a deep sense of fulfillment as she witnessed the connections forming within the group. This was what she had hoped for: a community of support, understanding, and healing. The workshop was a success, and Sarah knew that this was just the beginning of something much bigger. In the days that followed, the feedback from participants flooded in. Many expressed their gratitude for the space she had created, sharing how it had helped them confront their emotions and connect with others. Inspired by the positive response, Sarah decided to make the workshops a regular occurrence. Eager to expand her reach and help more individuals on their journeys, with each passing week, Sarah continued to refine her approach, incorporating various art forms such as sculpture, collage, and even writing into the sessions. She invited guest artists and therapists to share their insights, further enriching the experience for participants. The community around her continued to grow, creating a ripple effect of healing that extended far beyond the walls of the community center. As her workshops flourished, Sarah began to receive invitations to speak at local events and share her story. She found herself in front of audiences, recounting her journey with candor and passion. Each time she spoke, she felt the weight of her experiences transform into a powerful message of hope. One evening, after a particularly emotional talk at a cancer awareness event, Sarah was approached by a young woman named Jessica. With tears in her eyes, Jessica shared that she had been recently diagnosed and felt overwhelmed by the uncertainty of her future. "I don't know how to cope with this," Jessica admitted, her voice trembling. "Hearing your story gives me hope, but I still feel so scared." Sarah placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It's completely normal to feel scared," she replied. "But remember, you don't have to go through this alone. There's a community out there for you, and together we can find strength in vulnerability. Join us at the workshops. It might help you find your voice in this journey." Jessica nodded, a flicker of hope igniting in her eyes. Their conversation lingered in Sarah's mind long after the event ended, serving as a reminder of the power of connection and the importance of being there for one another. In the months that followed, Sarah continued to embrace her role as both a survivor and a healer. She dedicated herself to her workshops, her blog, and her speaking engagements, all while continuing her own treatment. The journey was not without its difficulties. There were days marked by fatigue and uncertainty. Yet, with each challenge, she found strength in the community she had fostered. As summer approached, Sarah was filled with a sense of anticipation. She decided to organize a larger community art event, a festival celebrating creativity, healing, and connection. She envisioned a day filled with art displays, workshops, and performances, inviting local artists and cancer survivors to share their talents and stories. The planning for the festival took shape quickly, and as the date approached, excitement buzzed in the air. Sarah felt a deep sense of purpose and enthusiasm, knowing that the event would not only showcase the healing power of art, but also raise funds for local cancer support organizations. On the day of the festival, the sun shone brightly as attendees poured into the venue, their smiles reflecting the energy of the day. Art displays adorned the walls, showcasing the incredible work of participants from Sarah's workshops. The atmosphere was alive with laughter, music, and the vibrant colors of creativity. As Sarah welcomed everyone, she felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. This festival was not just a celebration of art. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Together, they were creating a movement, a community united by hope, love, and the power of shared experiences. As the day unfolded, Sarah took a moment to reflect on her journey. She had come so far from the initial shock of her diagnosis to becoming a beacon of hope for others. Her heart swelled with pride as she watched people connect through art, share their stories, and uplift one another. In that moment, Sarah knew she had found her true calling. She was not just surviving, she was thriving, embracing every moment with gratitude and purpose. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but she felt empowered by the connections she had fostered and the lives she had touched. With the sun setting on a beautiful day filled with laughter and creativity, Sarah smiled, knowing this was just the beginning of a new chapter in her life, one filled with hope, healing, and endless possibilities.